You're going to need a stronger stomach if you're going to be back in the kitchen seeing how the sausage is made.
Well, thank you.
You didn't prepare a presentation at all?
We have sort of a problem here. Like, you've left this section completely blank, Keith. You haven't done the Q&A.
What you did is totally unacceptable.
You say you crossed the line, you're fired. Go.
No!
Feedback is one of those things that happens to everybody. We all get feedback about things, and sometimes we agree with it, sometimes we disagree with it, but it's incredibly personal. It's incredibly hard not to take somebody's critique, even of something you've done, like a work you've made or a design you've made or a product you've built, and not take it as a personal reflection or an attack on yourself. But getting to the point where you can do that is one of the most valuable things for your career that's going to help you move forward. I had a moment in my career where I had a new boss, there was a little bit of friction between us, and it came time for my review, and I went in and I thought it was going to be a fairly standard review. It turned into what I call a come to Jesus review, where he told me the friction between us was causing damage to the department, and one of us was going to need to change, and it wasn't going to be him, and if I didn't change, I was going to be leaving. And one of the specific things he told me was that I was not able to handle feedback, and that was causing problems. And in the moment, my initial reaction was to be like, yeah, that's not true. It's just I'm right and you're wrong about things, and you don't like it when I correct you. And I didn't take feedback well, and it was showing. And so I had to find a way to change my behaviors so that I could, even when I didn't agree with the feedback that I was given or the critique I was given, find a way to turn it into a positive. And the first thing that I had to learn was, instead of reacting out of anger or hurt, take a few moments, step away from the situation, give yourself time to cool down before you respond. Once you've taken a step back, think back on the feedback you just got, the critique. And even if you think that it is mostly wrong and you don't agree with it, go through it and look for something positive. Try to find something good in that feedback, or something that might apply to you. So in my case, I don't take feedback. The fact that my first reaction was, that's not true, that was a flag to me to say, okay, maybe there's something there, that how I respond to negative feedback is something that I can work on. And so once you have taken that look and you found something that maybe you need to work on, because remember, sometimes what's holding you back in your career isn't a lack of a good behavior, it's a negative behavior that is impacting your career. And you need to remove that negative behavior to get from where you are to where you want to be. So I found my negative behavior, which was how I reacted to feedback. I then came up with a plan. I came up with a plan of exactly how I was going to start to adjust my reaction to feedback. I gave myself tangible metrics or actions that I was going to take. And once I had that in place and I digested it, I came up with a timeline of when I was going to put the plan into action and how I was going to track success. Because if you don't give yourself a pathway to success, right? If you just have a plan but you never figure out how do you go beyond the plan into action, you're always going to just be stuck with ideas. And I want to get to action, so I put my plan into action. And where my story ended was that boss that I'd had the meeting with, he got a job offer 6 months later. He went to a different company, and when he left, our relationship had improved to the point where I talked to him about how I wanted to put my name in for his position. A lot of people didn't think I'd had enough experience for it. It was moving from a manager to a director. I said I want to give it a try anyway. I reached out to the VP, said I would love to be considered for this. I have ideas. I think I could grow into the role. And that boss, who had at one point told me one of us was going to leave, gave his recommendation to the VP that they should take a chance on me and let me grow into the role because of the skills that I would bring to the table. So when you get a critique that you don't agree with, remember to don't react in anger. Step back, give yourself time to cool off. Then look through, find something good out of that. Even if you don't agree with most of it, find the one thing in it that you agree with or that you think maybe you need to work on. Once you have that, come up with a plan of how are you going to address that feedback, how are you going to address the behavior you've identified. And once you've come up with your plan, make sure you put it into action with actual target dates of when you're going to change it or actions that you're going to change that you can track so you can really push yourself to make progress. If you do that, you're going to find yourself in a much better place career-wise when you get a critique or when you get feedback. Regardless of whether it's positive or negative, you're going to be able to turn it into something that helps push you forward and helps you grow. Again, my name is Gary. This has been Grow with Gary. I hope that hearing a little bit about my story and how I had to force myself to grow helps you in some way as you journey into being more of a product designer and your career. If you like any of this, feel free to let me know something that maybe you've struggled with that you want an opinion on or a take or some tips, and I will see you in the next one.